What's one piece of career advice you would give someone starting their career in data?
This is something that someone has told me as well when I was, 5 years in my career already, is learn both data and business as soon as possible. Like if you can learn both of them early on, that's fantastic, right? Like, because the difference between a good data professional and probably call it a better or a best data professional is someone who can translate the technical elements into something that's a lot more understandable for the business, right? And data being data now, it's a major driver for every business. It is the new gold. And it is important to understand how the data translate into something that's more tangible for business. How does it benefit the business? So try and understand the so what behind each of these questions, behind what we're trying to do through data. So that is something very, very important. And that will be probably the one piece of career advice I will give to anyone aspiring to be part of the data world.
Very cool. It's quite funny you mentioned that because recently as well, I spoke to a friend of mine. His product is very different, but it still deals with an element of data as well. And he says whenever he has to sell this product as well to another business, it gets a little tricky at times because it's the commercial guys who make the decision on whether or not to take it on, but it's the data guys who are assessing it. And when they both have that segmentation, it gets to a point of who's right, who's not, what do we do? There is no strategic alignment between the two in that sense. There's a lot of clashes that end up happening. And ever since he mentioned this to me, probably about a year ago now, I would think, I've been seeing in my own sense as someone who's a marketer, a lot of marketers are also needing to take up data in some form or another. And it's just becoming more and more of an integral part of a skill, not only if you're a data person who also has to learn the business, but I think for other fields or other specialties, learning data is always going to help you in whichever role you're in or in whichever company you're in.
Yeah, it's not just learning data, it's also learning the business driver behind the data, right? Quite often, technical people, we tend to work like ostriches, right? Our heads very deep and we just try and hammer through what we're trying to do without understanding what's happening in the background and why we are doing what we're doing. So that's very important.
Yeah, that extra layer of context.
Absolutely.
For the second question, can you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that made a significant impact?
Yeah, definitely. So as me being a data person, like I've been in the industry since 2008, and I've only been in the data space throughout, where I've done a lot of things from data engineering to business intelligence, architecture, migrations, etc. So a big pivotal moment for me was my previous role, where I stepped into the role of a data governance manager. And data governance was something that has always been in my, played a role. I mean, it was also always part of my roles, but not the only focus for me. And stepping into a role which focused purely on governance was a big pivotal moment for me because it helped me reposition myself than someone who was just an executioner, then from there to someone who can think both strategy and also can talk to business. So it repositioned me, and it also kind of helped me build my brand, my reputation as someone who is a data leader. So I think that was a very big pivotal moment for me. And it kind of ties back to the first question as well, right? Like it helped me understand the business better, and it helped me drive strategic conversations behind data better. And obviously that is what is going to help me act as a launchpad for me to grow further in my career.
Okay, cool. And I want to ask as well, so obviously you've done a lot within data. How transferable were the skills moving on from one role to another, in the sense where obviously you're going to be working along data still, but different lines within that?
for me, no matter what, the fundamentals are the same. Data is the same. The fundamentals are the same. And probably I'm a little bit old school where I kind of learned data through SQL, structured query language, and then I started thinking using SQL. So that thought process is the same no matter to what role you go to. And what also happens is, like, when you're a data engineer, for example, or a BI developer, you look at the data with a certain lens, with a certain skill set. And when you move to a different role as an architect, you tend to look back at your previous role and say, hey, was done because of this now. So you try to relate and link things back. And as you kind of move further, it helps you build a better picture than just looking at one facet, right? And a lot of these skills are definitely transferable because, as you kind of grow in your career, business intelligence is all about storytelling through data. And when you when you become a governance person, when you become a head of, let's say, where you have to present data to drive an outcome, the learnings from all of these places are definitely valuable.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Yep. No worries.
And how do you approach challenges and setbacks in your professional life? And what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
Yeah, challenges are part of life, and there's no challenge and you just don't go forward. And I've kind of come across a fair few challenges, both in my professional life, and the way I've kind of always approached it is two things. One, this is something which my dad once told me, it's like a small stone. A problem is like a small stone, right? You can take it and keep it close to your eyes. It blocks your view. You cannot see anything else. But the moment you keep it at a distance, it becomes so small you can just toss it away and go. So try to remove yourself from the equation. Try and understand what the problem is. Yeah. And once you kind of start doing that, then it also kind of gives you the opportunity to pause. Take a pause, rethink, and then look at how you can handle the problem and navigate through it. One of the things that I often do is break it down. If there's a major challenge, the challenge might definitely scare you. It might look too huge to accomplish. But when you break it down into achievable small tasks, it's like scaling Mount Everest. But instead, if you look at Mount Everest, it's going to be huge. But if you look at every hill, every hurdle as a small portion, there is a sense of achievement. So it's easy for you to reach that goal. And then that achievement acts as a sort of a driver, as an inspiration for you to go forward. So that's something that I've always done. And that's something that's always helped me as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
No worries at all.